I'm Elaine.
And I'm Rachel.
And welcome to
Legs Out.
And Away We Go. This is the podcast where we tell you about Formula One our way. The races, the cars, the drivers. We are obsessed.
And here's why you should be too.
Hi, Rachel.
Hello, Elaine.
I have nothing more to say. And so with that, it's Legs Out. And away we go. Goodbye. We'll see you next time. Can we talk about is there anything else to talk about? Because there wasn't a race this weekend. Nothing happened in one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
Absolutely not. No, nothing happened. And I think we're now a book podcast.
Oh, yes.
I suggest that pivot.
Yes, I like it.
Maybe racing is something that's going to break our heart too much, and therefore we should just read books, right? That won't emotionally damage us.
Yeah. But here's the thing. We are masochists. We like the pain because we are dancers. We are Formula One lovers. And that's just how you know.
Yep. That is never going to be something that we run away from. So despite the fact that this was a rough race for us, as in our group chat, it was sent to us, I'm sorry for the Legs Out duo. This is a dark day.
This is a dark day indeed. Wait, can I just read a few of my text messages that I sent to the group because they are quite inappropriate. We usually wait to save any spoilers for anybody in our group chat who has not finished the race. Mm-hmm. I completely disregarded that. Yeah. And I said, let's see. Everyone said, I feel like Monaco's not a great race. I don't know. And I said, this is the worst race in the history of races. I want to blow up the entire city of Monaco and laugh as it burns.
We're not violent dangers, just in case anyone's going to put us on a list. But, yeah.
And then, I'm not done. Mm-hmm. This last one, someone said, you see, even the sky is mad. If you can't hear that.
The sky is angry.
It's thunder. It's thunder. It's tears from the gods.
Yes.
Someone said they were on lap 39, and I did not hesitate to say, you will have missed nothing except the FIA getting bored and sticking their fingers up their butts for fun. So that's where my mental state was this weekend.
There's the inappropriate illustrative. Yes, we were talking about. I was asked, like, are you ready to be done with Monaco? And I was like, never. I will continue to put myself in this painful place forever because, people have been feeling the pain from Monaco since 1950. Who am I to start complaining now?
You know, the way that you put that, I thought was so wonderful because I normally would never want to get rid of Monaco. I was like 100% save Monaco. I'm like 65% now.
No, really?
Rachel, I'm so mad.
I feel like we're going to need to take some space from this traumatic race weekend for us. It was also a very full week for both of us. So we just had a lot going on in our hearts.
We literally just got done having a very deep discussion about how intense I had a show. Rachel and I both had a show this weekend. And they were intense. And I had a lot of feelings about it. And the decompression is like, sometimes it feels like falling out of an airplane and then hitting the ground, which I'm sure is how it felt for Lance Stroll and Charles Leclerc.
Must we? See, there goes the thunder. We're all mad about it. I just knew as I came into this weekend with all of the hype of the Ferraris are shoo-ins. I always am like, I want to back my guys, but I also know that I have been baited into thinking that something is nailed on before. Uh-huh. And so I had it in my heart. I was going to be really excited about podiums. Last year when I was at the race in Monaco, I really, really wanted a repeat of 2024. But the fact that Charles Leclerc got second, it was hard for him. It was basically a loss for him, but it was like beautiful to see that. I knew that Ferrari with Lewis Hamilton, they were starting to go on an uphill climb. And I was like, oh my gosh, it would be incredible to see a Ferrari 1-2 in Monaco.
Uh-huh.
It would be incredible to see a Ferrari 2-3 in Monaco. Like I was not one of the people shouting like, this is it. Not because I don't love them, but because I am a little bit of a realist and have been burned before.
She's still down to earth, y'all. She's not too far.
Yeah. I haven't completely sold my soul to the Tifosi. Well, but I, on Saturday, was like, he's going to be in second.
Wow. Where did you think Max was going to go?
I honestly didn't think he was going to be at play for pole. And so I think in many ways, we're going to get into this in a second, but I think in many ways, this was a great weekend for Red Bull. I know that this ended up being a dark day for you, but I think the team can kind of count this as a win coming out of this weekend. Your face is getting more and more irate.
How dare you? All right, we have to cut it off. Right there. Let's go to our newsroom first. And before we hit our newsroom, as you can tell, we're gonna get into it, y'all.
Yes, grab your tea.
Grab
maybe
your drink.
Whiskey, I don't know. Whatever you need.
Your emotional support stuffy. Grab it immediately. And then rate, review, and subscribe.
Absolutely.
Hey! All right, so tell me about this newsroom. Please distract me.
Well, it's a distraction, kind of. But then we'll start with the first easy thing, which is if you are a Las Vegas fan, it is a weekend to celebrate because the circuit is signed on through 2037.
Well, do you think Las Vegas will still be livable by 2037?
That is, I know. I don't want to go to like a crazy place, but like, do we know what anything looks like in 10 years? But F1's like, don't worry, there will be fast cars going around the strip.
We'll have to wear gas masks and cover ourselves in a dome of ice. But
hopefully not. Hopefully we're overreacting and everything will be delightful. But the idea that a circuit gets a 10-year extension is kind of crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because we will have, we may be looking at another regulation change next year. Who knows? Ferrari, this is one of the few times that I really disagree with them in that they're kind of one of the teams holding up that push through of the regulation change. We can get into that at another time. But there's also a scheduled regulation change for like 2030, 2031. So that's 2 in the upcoming years. That's what in the next 4 years. We're looking at a 10-year span. How many regulation changes are we going to go through? And so it's like, will we even like Vegas as a track?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Aside from like the world status?
Listen, we've said it once and I just want to say it again because it's fun to say. Mm-hmm. Vegas is around because that's cash, baby, cash money. So congratulations to all you rich assholes out there. Yet again, congratulations especially to our dear friend Ross, chief scrutineer. Mm-hmm. He loves the Vegas race. He gets to go. So
I will say before we move on from this, I have changed my opinion about Vegas. I think it is an interesting track, and I think it should stay on the calendar. I don't think really any track should be getting 10-year deals. Let me be clear about that. I'm glad that they're keeping it. I think it has provided a lot more interest than I ever thought it was going to be when it first was announced. I was downright opposed to F1 in Las Vegas.
Yes.
And it's produced some good races. I have to give it credit. Yeah. I just am like, why are we giving 10-year deals to anyone?
I completely agree. And that gave me a great idea. We should do an episode about tracks, abandoned tracks.
Oh, love.
That we should bring back.
I went down a really deep rabbit hole on Watkins Glen. And that's like a dream track for me to visit. Formula One no longer races there. Mm-hmm. But it had some rich freaking histories. So we'll just leave that there. And I love that idea. So make sure, like you said, that you are followed so that you get that in your little ding ding inbox in the future. I said start with the easy stuff because we a little bit touched on it last week.
Yes.
This will be folded into our full race content. But Leclerc has also signed on for umpteen years for Ferrari.
You know what's funny though? I think he's involved in the Delulu.
Oh, 1,000%.
I sipped that Delulu so hard.
Yes. What are your thoughts?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I do. I want to hear.
All right. So obviously, I'm just gonna take note by note. Was this the brakes? Was this the track? Was this Leclerc? Obviously, I think, I'm going to be honest, I think it was a combination of all three.
Yeah. I don't think you're wrong.
Okay.
I don't think you're wrong. What we're alluding to, if you somehow missed this heartbreaker of an event, Leclerc not only did not get pole when he looked like he could maybe have put in a pole lap, he was so freaking fast, and then he got pipped by Kimi and also Max, and then he was going around for another flyer, and I didn't think he was going to get another flyer, but then he started another lap, and I was like,
oh wait, are we on qualifying?
Sorry, no, we were on the race, but I took it back even further because I think the pain starts earlier in the weekend.
Okay,
earlier in the weekend.
Fair.
Because I was like, great, amazing. This is another shot that I didn't think was going to happen. And then he was in the wall.
Yeah.
So I think the momentum is already not in a great place from Canada, where he was beaten by Lewis, which all credit to Lewis. We'll give him some in a second.
Yeah.
But things were a little not as like cool, calm, collected.
Yes.
As he went into the weekend. We then go into the race, and Lewis continued to be in front of him. Again, lots of credit. Mm-hmm. The team made some interesting decisions on how they handled some time penalties that were levied against Lewis and also 30,000 other drivers in the grid. And they effectively gave both their drivers a 5-second penalty when only one of them was given by the FIA because Charles Leclerc pit behind Lewis while he took his 5-second penalty.
How you feel about that?
I am irate.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
No one would ever notice from the tone of my voice that I was like, seriously.
Okay, no, but in all seriousness, Rachel, do you agree with the way that they did that pit stop strategy, or you think they absolutely should have had Leclerc in first and then Hamilton?
I don't even know if it's a matter of in first, because I will acknowledge that if you're the driver in front, then you need to have the priority in terms of pits. I, of course, want Charles to have the priority at all times, but Lewis, fair and square, was ahead of Charles on track.
Do you know how hard it is for me to not shout about the McLaren?
At any given time, that's in your pocket, ready to be like,
from 25 years ago. Okay, please continue. I've let it go, I promise.
No, you haven't. Not once.
Yeah, letting it go.
But I think, again, never a strategist, never will be a strategist, no matter how much I study. I think there is a scenario in which they split the strategy for Charles to not come in right behind Lewis. However, that is not the heartbreak, because, but I bring that up to illustrate the fact that it was like a compounding morass of issues as we're going through this race. I think that Charles potentially could have been on for a second instead of, if that pit stop had not been handled that way, because Leclerc did not get levied with a penalty. And so he could have, if the team had not handled it that way, been out on track position, that matters so much in Monaco, ahead of his teammate. Instead, he's behind him. I think that this weekend, Leclerc was overdriving. Mm-hmm. I think that his loyalist dreamer heart with Ferrari and with Monaco put him in a place that just undercut him, not in terms of pit strategy, but in terms of like his ability to not care too much.
Okay, that is interesting. Yes, I agree. Especially because this is such an emotional, and you know, it's his track. It's his home city. It's his track. That win that he got we're like, oh, the curse is broken.
No.
I do say though, I understand why they pit him like that. I do. I am shocked that I feel that way as well. But it made sense in the way that they did it, the timing that they had it. And the penalty that Hamilton did get was just a speeding in the pit lane. It had nothing to do after he served that first 5-second time penalty. Mm-hmm. If they had left Charles out and then something else had happened, or the way that all the cars came in, he would have been stuck out there with really old tires. He wouldn't have really been able to fight very long. and it would have compromised the Ferrari 1-2. So I see wwhy they did it. I understand why he's angry. 2-3.
Yeah, I only correct you because I wish it was a 1-2.
You're
But
right. You're right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, 2-3. 2-3. Yeah. So I get it, and I get why it sucks. But I want to go back to the track.
The wreck. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the wreck and the track, because we had a full red flag. Mm-hmm. All cars in the pit lane, they got out. This was a really long one. I meant to look up, if there's a red flag, I wonder if there's a minimum amount of time that they have to give the drivers, because they all get out of their cars, take off their suits, take off their helmets. Ocon was eating a banana.
I know, which I was like, this is the most relatable I've ever found Esteban Ocon.
Seriously.
You need a snack.
You need that potassium.
For sure. They do have to give them like a 10-minute warning when it's like, we're about to start the race. So there's that, but that's a good question. I don't know if there is a minimum of like how long the red flag can last. But it is a lot of communication, I would hope, between the FIA and the teams.
This will lead me into my full fucking rant later.
Okay.
However, just the image of all of the very rich white men standing on the track looking at a pile of gravel, I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
It was wild to see just people, just like it. They looked like they just took a stroll out onto the track. This was, of course, people who are very high up in decisions on this. I'm next to positive one of them was Rui Marquez, the actual race director.
Correct.
And what they were looking at is that the track had basically, the top layer had just disintegrated a little bit. Like it had just come apart. And Monaco is usually really on top of their tracks resurfacing.
Yes.
Because since it is a city, because it is a street track, you're going to constantly have these issues. But because Monaco is really proud of their crown jewel status, and their Automobile Club de Monaco or whatever is one of the most prestigious in the world, this is something that's taken really seriously.
Right.
So it's kind of crazy to me, actually, that this wasn't handled before. Nico Hülkenberg had talked about that he had noticed this during the driver's parade.
Yep.
That this was something that people had noticed.
Uh-huh.
And I'm actually going to shock you by saying, I think Leclerc should have noticed. I know. I think the brakes are a major issue. I think he's not crazy by saying, this is making me look like an idiot and it's not my fault. I'm not taking credit for this.
Oh, yeah.
I also think like 10% other drivers could have taken that line and they didn't because they either noticed or because they were adhering to the people. There is a certain element to which this was a Leclerc thing. I also hear him in that he's dealing with brakes that he has been complaining about for several races, and you're in a track that absolutely the brakes are the most important thing in your car kind of at that point. I mean, steering wheel, you're going through crazy turns, but like
if you can't brake, you will die in that. I mean, it's
he referred to it as like it's impossible. And he's like, I couldn't really brake, but also if I just like didn't brake, we're in Monaco, so I'm going to be in the wall anyway.
Ultimately, it's such a disappointment because he essentially floated. He was going so slow. It was literally like it was just a glide into the wall in the exact same spot that earlier Lance Stroll.
We don't need to put them in the same sentence.
I know. I noticed you were missing Stroll from your notes here, and I was like, I'm just gonna add that back in. Beep, boop, boop. Also important because the cameraman zoomed in on the one Lance Stroll fan who was so upset. I would love to have a moment of silence for that one fan because, bless you. You have the weight of the world on your shoulders. Thank you. Okay, moving on.
I have many things I could say, I suppose, about the brakes, but we have talked long enough about Charles Leclerc and his heartbreak, other than the fact that he is starting to basically start a beef with Brembo, the brake suppliers. But yeah, we've spent enough time, right? We can talk about, do you want to talk about Max not starting?
Sure, let's do it. A great weekend for Red Bull, despite Max issue. Just gonna rework that right here. Delete.
This is a live rewriting of our outline. Delete.
Oh, okay. Anyway, Congratulations, Hajar. You won simply because this is Monaco and no one could pass your ass. That is why you won. Congratulations. I don't want to shade him. I think he's an excellent driver, but that Red Bull was not fast. And the only reason he won is because of the track. And it's bullshit. I think it's bullshit.
Tell us how you really feel, Elaine.
Also, Max's issue, you want to know what it was?
Yes, I really do.
Terminal engine failure. Terminal. Ladies and gentlemen, when you use the word terminal, that means it cannot be resuscitated. It will die. Start over. Start over with the car. I'm done. After that, I'm realizing that we completely skipped qualifying.
Yeah, that's okay.
No.
I mean, no, it's not, because that's the reason I say that Monaco is important.
Because it's processional, because no one can get around it, no one can pass, and they've done away with this. No, I don't even want to bring that back up because it had no bearing anyway.
Ooh. No. I actually think it did have bearing. Oh. Can we take a small pit stop and then we'll get back to Max?
No.
So, George had a wreck of a race. Like, he didn't wreck, but it was insane. However, something that he did that made me quite angry with him, actually,
yes,
is that at the end of the race, when they had the standing restart, he chose to slow down and back everyone up.
That's so interesting, Rachel. Don't they normally give penalties for going too slow because it's dangerous?
Well, here's the thing is I was listening to a podcast talking about like what they could have penalized him for on this. And it's like, would it have been erratic driving? Like, it's a really hard thing to penalize him for. But my point is that I don't think anyone actually had the balls to do that pre-last year. I think that them putting in the 2 pit stop mandate last year made it very clear to the teams that that was a douchey, but like race altering strategy to take. And so it was brought in last year. Now it's like that dam has been broken and now people are going to do it. AKA George, who is not a stranger to doing the hard thing just because it's not going to be popular. And so he chose to do a dick move, kind of, and slow everyone down. And I blame the 2 pit stop mandate last year. I hate that stuff. Kick it out. I wish we could write a line and never bring it back ever again.
Interesting. Also, okay, so 2 things. Last year, I need to look this up. Last year, someone was penalized for going too slow.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
There is a... Can I look it up?
Yeah, let's look it up.
Give it some elevator music. Okay. I was talking about something that doesn't apply here. I was talking about when Oscar Piastri got a penalty for excessive braking and slow speed on the safety car restart, which is not applicable here for George. You are correct. However, George was so slow that Kimi lapped him. And yeah, it was a huge dick move. And I still think he should have gotten a penalty because it was dangerous, because effectively what that did was cause Carlos Sainz to lose the race.
Yeah.
He caused that 100%. And I think that hilariously, Colapinto is the one who eventually took him out. Colapinto did not even get a penalty, but they had to give Hülkenberg a penalty.
Right. Good point. Yeah.
So this is going to lead into my penultimate rant about Monaco.
But I said we were going to take a pit stop at my rant about, this is just a ranty episode, y'all. But I want to hear about what you want to share on Max and why you don't agree that this was a great weekend for Red Bull. Or whatever you want to share.
No, I think ultimately I don't want to call this a great weekend for Red Bull because, again, I don't think that, okay, technically, yes. Red Bull's on the podium. Great. Woo. The only reason he's there is because of the processional Monaco street track. He would have been passed 10 times over if this had not been Monaco. And I think that's bullshit. I think that defeats the purpose of racing in and of itself. I want to see the cars that merit, the cars that are the fastest, they have the best racecraft. That's who I want to see on the podium. And this was not it. Hajar, I love you. You're still my boy. I'm sorry. But it's true. And Red Bull, you need to get your shit together. I'm not proud of you. Terminal engine failure.
Apparently, they were supposed to retire that power unit after this weekend. And so they already knew that it was at the end of its life. But turns out they should have renewed it a little sooner. But can I share a counterpoint?
Can I say also that Max yeeted himself out of that paddock after he gave the interview? Like, yep, wasn't great. That was pretty rough. Goodbye. I'm going to go spend my life with my wife and my child. 2 children.
That sounds nice. Actually, very Kimi Räikkönen of him. But yes,
so,
go home. Go
legend.
home.
Have a beer. Bro, enjoy yourself. They fucked you. Goodbye. Anyway, yes, please provide me a counterpoint.
Counterpoint being A and B here. A, this is my continual reasoning why I think Monaco matters. I think you have to change your perspective about Monaco as a racetrack weekend in that this is a one-off. I think that it is okay that there is one racetrack a year that qualifying is the star of the show. And I think that if we were to be like, great, we're bored on Sunday, let's delete, I think we lose a really unique part of not only history, but also challenge for the drivers. Because this is not a track that realistically we could ever put on the calendar again. Like, it is insane that these cars go around these streets.
Yeah.
It's not something that it ever would be. If it wasn't grandfathered in, it would not happen.
Agreed.
And so I think if it was like, we can't pass, which I understand. It's not an exciting race, but I think that there is so much value in this weekend that Hadjar was able to display on Saturday by having a great qualifying.
Yes.
He was great last year. He was great this year. I think it takes a really special driver to be able to like wind your way through these streets. So it's not just him benefiting from not being able to be passed. I think he did the work on Saturday, and I think we have to give them credit for doing the work on Saturday.
If we gave them all the credit for just doing the work on Saturday, what is even the point?
I think it is agreed everywhere else. I think in Monaco, I think it requires a perspective shift. But that's just my opinion.
You know, and I appreciate that because I do see the historic value of Monaco, just like I see the historic value of my childhood teddy bear. And I love him. His name is Bobo. But should Bobo go everywhere with me still? I love him. I will put him on a shelf.
I think most people agree with you on that.
Yes, that format is special. Yes, qualifying laps deserve recognition. I just one lap. Do not the winner racist. What?
You know what? We all know what you were saying, though. Yes.
Thank you.
Something doesn't make us a man. One lap doesn't make us a winner
champion.
Podium. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, there it was. That was wild.
It was Old English, and I loved it. It's in fitting with the historical value of Monaco. I think, unfortunately, that we can point to Charles Leclerc in that it doesn't matter if you have the track position, if you cannot finish the race, if you cannot have the mental fortitude. I'm not saying he does not require, he obviously has mental fortitude, but it is a special track.
What?
You said, my brain took a second to catch up. I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to table it. It is a special task to be able to be locked in for that long. Yeah. My point B, though, is that shiitake mushroom. My point B is that this is exactly what we need of Red Bull. This is what we have been leveraging against them for years, is that they didn't have a second driver who could pick up the pieces when their lead driver was missing. And so I think this is a huge win for Red Bull because they finally have a second driver who was able to pick up the pieces.
Yes. I am glad that this track happened so that Hadjar could have a moment.
He shouted his way the entire way to that podium.
He really did.
I want to put
it was really cute.
Large spotlight on that.
It was really cute. And just Hadjar, Antonelli, Hamilton, Hadjar, them together, kind of adorable.
What a precious, intergenerational, adorable thing. And this brings me to something I was thinking about following our discussion with Madge Merrill last weekend, where we were talking about the value of experience as a driver, and also how that sometimes can be a double-edged sword, because while people laud the experience, they then tell you like, oh, you've been around for so long, isn't it time?
Yeah.
And so that weird double-edged sword of experience of having time in that sport, I think we saw experience win out with Lewis here. And then I think we see the other side of the coin. I'm really mixing metaphors here with Kimi, because I think his lack of experience is helping him win the 5 races in a row. There is such a youthful exuberance about the confidence that he has right now. It's almost like nothing can unseat him because he's not overthinking what could unseat him.
I'm gonna be honest. I think that car is everything. That car is everything. Kimi is talented. They are all talented in a way. And yes, Kimi has the promise of like the next ultimate world championship dominator. Dominatrix. No, dominator. No. Yes.
I think I'm going to really enjoy saying Kimi Antonelli is a dominatrix.
Yeah.
Let's stick with that.
He has the capability to be the world champion dominatrix of all time.
Yeah.
But right now, yes! Rachel whipped all of y'all. That was beautiful. I've never been prouder.
You're rubbing off on me.
Now what? Where do we go from there?
Oh, you're talking about the car.
It's the car. It's the car. It's the car.
So what, I don't mean to keep being like, well, actually counterpoint, but actually counterpoint.
Give it.
As we're talking about ADUO, blah, 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 these ridiculous acronyms that F1 loves to come up with. This is additional development and upgrade opportunities. We're in the zone of the season where that is being evaluated. And ironically, Red Bull does not apply for an upgrade. Mercedes and Ferrari do. And so I agree the car is spectacular. I also think that, as evidenced by the fact that George is struggling, these cars are exposing some major driving style differences between teammates.
Yes.
And Kimi Antonelli seems to be just like bonded with that car.
You know, we've talked a lot about simulators before, but also the fact, I was listening to something about karting, how it's getting so outrageously expensive that the way of karting is completely going along the wayside, and it's sim racing that is way more accessible, and it bridges a gap. If you're going to jump up into Formula 2, Formula 1, and you have that sim experience, you have a much higher chance of really getting your handles, grab
them both,
get your handles on the car. Yeah, but it's a shame because Hamilton karting, Verstappen karting, but also, you know, he had a good hybrid. But yeah, I think it's more the older generation. You didn't have, sim was not as much of a thing back then. So I do wonder how much of an advantage Kimi has being young versus George being a little bit older. He had more time in the simulator maybe for Kimi. What do you think about that?
I really love that point, and that's one I've been thinking about a lot as we have these rookies come in, and they seem to be able to kind of get to grips with a Formula One car a lot faster than we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
They are very much growing up on this really ever increasingly anomalous experience, and Verstappen is actually someone who's really championed the fact that sim is the future. He, of course, has his sim racing teams and whatnot, but this is something that he really admirably, I think, has talked about, because it does create a lot of opportunities for drivers who do not have the economic wherewithal to be in karting. I think it's really interesting that Hamilton basically swore off the simulator coming into Canada, and I think also into Monaco, feeling that it was spending a lot of time making a setup that then just didn't really apply. And so I think that brings up the conversation of not only youth and your experience, but also a simulator has to be simulating in a very amazing copy of what real life is to be valuable.
Yes.
And so it is on the teams to have the most top of the line, the most aligned simulators. And I find that part fascinating. I don't have actually an opinion here. I just think it's really interesting as we peel back the layers of the onions. It's not just the person. It's the talent. It's the technology.
So many things.
It's the team. It is incredible what goes into making a possible generational driver.
Yes. Yes. I love that.
Wild.
Excellent. All right. I'd like to move into our second segment, which is...
That was our first segment?
That was our first segment.
Hope you guys enjoyed your first whiskey. Now's the time to pour a second. Make it a double shot if you need to.
Get a little snack. Everyone needs a snack with their drink. Maybe some pretzels.
I could really do a cupcake right now.
Oh, really? I was like a pub mix. I love a good, just like sweet and spicy nuts, chips, pretzels, little snacky bits.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, grab your snacky bits and come back because I would like to start this segment talking about how the FIA needed to create penalties to make the race interesting since they did away with the 2 pit stop rule. FIA medals and everything. Go.
I told you before we started recording that you were not going to agree with my take on this. Let me first explain what the heck was happening, because I think many people had the same experience I did, which was as we saw all of these penalties coming in during the race, it was like, so something's broken.
Can I count them for you?
Yes, please.
So we had, let's see, 1, 2, and these are not all the same, but majority of them are drive-through penalties or speeding in the pit lane. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
This is the whole race, right?
This is the whole race.
That is so many. That also includes, though, like Sergio Perez twice forgetting where to be on the grid, which is frustrating because he actually had a really great drive and his race was a little bit undone by some mistakes. But you're not wrong in counting that many freaking penalties, because what we're going to zoom in on is the pit lane, speeding in the pit lane penalties.
Yes.
There were, I think, no less than 6 drivers penalized for this. Some of them penalized twice. And so this is why it's not like any technology was broken. We could argue that the rules are broken, but it was not a piece of technology malfunctioning. Here's what happened is you have a curved pit lane in Monaco. It's not straight. And we have added a 20-second pit box, right?
Yes.
And they are at the end of the pit lane, the pit exit.
Yes.
And so there are always going to be like limits in the fast lane, little painted white lines that denote the fast lane. Now, in the past, that was a little more clear where the limits were. And then we added Cadillac. And so it opened up that pit exit a little bit. So drivers were taking some slightly different lines exiting the pit lane.
Interesting.
Keep lines in top of mind.
All right.
Because when we talk about a pit lane speed limit, it's 60 kilometers per hour or 37 miles per hour. However, this is not you and I driving down the road and we get pinged with the little radar gun and they're like, you were going 83 miles an hour. Here's your speeding ticket. And you say, oh, but I'm pretty. Can I not have it? That doesn't work this way here because the FIA uses timing loops. And so the average speed or the speed is measured in averages rather than just like, oh, you went 61.
Right.
Therefore, you're out. You get a 5-second penalty. So it's triggered by timing loops throughout the pit lane. Now that means your distance is going to be a really key thing in determining that average. If you were, say, to shorten the distance, if we take the good old math things that we all learned in elementary school, you are going to, by way of math, be going faster over the average. I made that very unclear.
Because math.
Let's think about if you've ever run track.
Yes.
We're just taking cars out of it for a second because we've all maybe ran a track, right?
Yeah.
So if you are running and you're on that oval, you know that if you go to the inside, you're going to cross the line first, right? Rather than if you take the outside line and it takes you just that extra stride to get to that finish line.
Yes.
Basically, the cars that were quote unquote speeding took a tighter line exiting the pit lane. And so they reached the finish line faster, meaning that their distance was marginally shorter than the drivers who took the quote unquote correct line exiting, therefore making the drivers' averages quote unquote, or not quote unquote, just by fact, faster than those other drivers. Are we seeing like fast line versus slow line? Basically, that's all I could have said. Fast line versus slow line.
So distance wise, the cars were closer to the camera or closer to the looper.
To the loop. Yeah, basically. They crossed the barrier first, basically. They crossed it just like marginally sooner.
That is stupid.
I both agree. I think that there should have been some, I think there needs to be some alterations in how that is dealt with.
Yeah.
However, this is a key piece of information for me. The teams were told about this prior to the race. The teams were told about this earlier in the weekend. I was very frustrated with how this was being brought in until I found out that info. I still think it's dumb.
Yeah.
But if we're going to adhere to the rules, I think we have to adhere to the rules, and you can't cry, oh, I didn't know that rule, when you in fact did know that rule.
Knowing it and realizing that it's not feasible, I think are two different things though.
But other teams, other drivers didn't break the rules, therefore it is feasible
How
to
many?
not...
Like 3?
Well, you're not wrong. I know I'm arguing a hard point and,
Yeah.
and the unpopular opinion, frankly. I know I
fair.
have the unpopular opinion. But I think that is what I value about Formula One is it is the fastest people. Sure, it is the most talented people. But why I find it fascinating is it's a team game. And I think this is a team dropping the ball, not the FIA dropping the ball actually in this point. Because the teams, some of them, Williams included, said, hey, Alex Albon, people are getting dinged to hell. Watch your line.
Yeah.
The line that they've been told about. So I blame the teams for not managing this better. And the FIA is just the bad guy in this point, but they're always going to be the bad guy, right?
Right. I think it's a fucking circus. I think it's a clown show. And that's like saying, we told you that the popcorn might make you sick, but you still ate the popcorn. So, I mean, it's that. I mean, in that, I'm like, well, don't eat the popcorn. Don't eat the popcorn. I think the onus really is on the FIA. Like, they are so particular. They measure everything. They are so quote unquote, you know, we're taking every edge, every limit to make sure everyone is safe in all of this. And yet they have like a 50-year-old looper beeper at the end that's like,
no one said it was 50 years old.
but that's what it says. That's insane. You have cutting edge technology and that's what you're going to fucking put at the end of the, like, that's no. And wait, can I make an argument about the penalties themselves? The fact that there
absolutely
were 21. What has the FIA been doing before this? Because before it was like, oh, a penalty came in. We're so busy. We just can't look at this right now.
That is a great point.
I'm
Elaine.
so sorry. We are just slammed. I'll look at this in like 5 hours.
Ever do this mid-race.
Never.
We're absolutely going to have to hear from the drivers, their management, their dogs. You are absolutely right about that.
Thank you, Rachel. That to me was a curse of Monaco. That to me, what felt like we got to spice it up. What can we do? Let's add some gravel here. Let's add a little bit of ocean spray. On this
so
side.
you don't like manipulating the race result, like a 2 pit stop mandate?
You know,
you don't like the race
I
being
wish they
manipulated?
had kept that one. I wish they kept that one instead of being like confetti penalties. Insane.
It was confetti penalties. Regardless of what we feel about the penalties, what I think we agree on is the absolute heartbreak that this was for Pierre Gasly. Do you know about this?
The transition. Tell me, because I would talk about Sainz's heartbreak, but I feel like we already touched that. I just feel bad that his race was shunted because Russell's an asshole. There, we don't have to go over it anymore.
Pierre Gasly, I think, takes the cake on this one, in my opinion, because he was running up in third, and he had a second penalty, actually, same thing, same issue, and regardless of what you feel about whether he needed those penalties or not, he had them, leaving the checkered flag, crossing the checkered flag, therefore dropping him from 3rd to 7th.
And these penalties were speeding in the pit lane, 5-second penalty.
Speeding in the pit lane.
5-second penalty. Alpine. The Alpine Air has requested a right of review hearing. Just noting on that. But yes. Okay.
So great. Good job requesting a review. What they didn't do is they didn't tell their driver, who was celebrating the entire lap after the checkered flag, that he was being dropped to 7th. They let him celebrate in the car, let him celebrate a Monaco podium.
In his mind.
On the radio.
Yeah.
Out loud. He's pumping his fists in the car. And they did not tell him until he got out of the car. That is awful management.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah.
Not only, in my opinion, should you have been more on top of making sure that your driver doesn't make this easily avoidable issue, in my opinion, but then regardless, even if you do, tell your driver so that he does not feel like he just overachieved. Alpine getting a podium in Monaco in the space that is so special to him.
Yeah.
I know I've said a lot of words, but I have no words.
No, you have no more left because it's abominable. That's horrible. On the note of not telling your driver when you know they have penalties during the race, I have conflicted feelings about it because I understand not wanting to upset their very delicate sensibility. Like, these obviously are incredibly passionate. You're in such an intense environment in that car, trying to focus so hard that then when you're like, you have a black and white, like 5-second, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I get it, but at the end of the race, he should have been told. Yeah. He should have been told. So wait, did he pull into the third? He didn't try to pull into the third place.
I actually don't know. That's a good question. I should have looked that up.
Yeah, because I didn't see him.
Maybe as he was pulling into the lane, they were telling. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But like, the man thought he was going to be on the podium.
Oh, my God. I mean, it's horrible. Also, that track means so much to Pierre Gasly as well.
Yeah.
Sad.
Well, I'm like, I'm angry for him.
I'm still more sad for Verstappen.
Well, fair. He is your number one. Your
Terminal.
Your main man.
Rachel,
Terminal is rough.
Kimi the Dominatrix won. And Verstappen's car has terminal issues. We haven't even talked about the fact that Norris's car is just pooping out on itself. Like, he just can't finish a race to save his life.
I will say,
McLaren's
early, before we even tell you about the track, I think in Spain, we are going to see the McLarens actually get the result that they deserve. Because Lando is driving the freaking pants up. Excuse me, I'm hitting the microphone. I'm so angry. And I'm giving cars pants. Why am I anthropomorphizing cars? But he is driving the dang pants off of that car when it is rolling forward.
Yes.
It is so, like, I understand that George Russell is also dealing with some, like, bad luck, and the car is dropping out on him a lot. Lando Norris.
Yeah.
That poor man.
Yeah.
He has, like, no space to defend his World Driver Championship because the car won't run.
You know, I know why it failed. I'm going to be very honest. It's because that livery was caca. So they can just delete the livery and then they'll magically be so much better.
Yes.
No notes. Here we are. We figured it out.
We did. Once again, I know that we have no like graphic design experience necessarily, but there is.
Well,
do we want to talk about Spain or?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I completely forgot there are more races on the calendar.
Guys, it is a double. No, it's just a double header. I was about to say double race week. I guess it is.
Kind of. It's a double header.
What we've been waiting for. I have been like, it is the 6th race. We just completed the 6th race and we're in June. That is insanity. Where are we going next, Elaine?
Oh, hang on. Let me pick myself up off the floor.
Yeah.
That was insane. Okay. We're going to Barcelona. Do. Ed Sheeran, look it up. Boop, boop, boop. We're going to Spain.
I'm going to have to look it up.
Oh, it's the Barcelona song from Ed Sheeran. It's great.
Great. Tell me about the track.
All right. First Grand Prix, 1991. So relatively new. Yeah. 4.6 kilometers, standard, 66 laps, standard, race distance, 308 kilometers, standard.
Standard, yeah.
Number of turns, 14, standard. You know what's not standard? Carlos Sainz's hair, which was made in Spain.
Is platinum award level stuff.
Agreed. All right. So the Spanish Grand Prix held at the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya is a staple in the Formula One calendar. 14 turns, long straights, varied elevation changes, comprehensive test of car performance, and driver skill. Yep.
When you say standard several times, I will say, not to throw shade at this track, but it is like the most like racetrack of racetrack. Exactly. It is a basic B word for sure.
I kind of love that.
And we need them. That's the thing, is when we're talking about needing variance in the schedule, we need Monaco, if you ask me. We need Spain. We need all of these different challenges for the drivers to be able to, you know, test their talents against, test their cars against.
Yeah.
So I can't say I'm like really excited for Spain as a track, but I'm excited to see them have to get back on track again so quickly after Monaco.
Yeah, an actual track. That would be great.
We're not biased at all in our opinions. Do you think
Yes.
that Kimi and...
We should do tapas.
Heck yes.
Sorry.
We should do... No, never apologize for a snack suggestion.
Snacky things.
Snacky things. Tapas are on schedule. Will we be enjoying a sixth Kimi Antonelli win with our tapas? Or do you think someone else will take that top seat?
You know, probably. And I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it. I'm not. I'm convincing myself I'm not mad about it.
Oh, okay. No. Yeah, I can kind of see that. I feel like the season's finally kicking off. And then they were like, 5 race wins in a row. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. It's fine. There's so many other storylines happening that I once again am not bored, even though someone is dominating out front.
I do. And I love Kimi. So it's, I mean, I'm not trying to put any shade on Kimi because Italian teenager all day long. Love.
I think we all understand.
Pop off, little king. But
you little dominatrix, you.
Whip sound. I think, I'm excited for everything that comes after. 2nd through 15th. Oh, yes. Sorry. Do you want, before we wrap this thing up in the most hellacious bow, would you like to cheers Fernando Alonso finally getting a point?
So I was like, oh, we could talk forever, but we gotta wrap. No, but I was like, am I really gonna not give Fernando Alonso his due? I am. I'm gonna give him huge kudos. I'm also gonna follow it up with the fact that he said, no, we can't take anything good out of this race because each race circuit that we've been to has exposed another weakness in our car. So I continue to say, Adrian Newey, I believe in you so much. Give my guy a car.
I hate to tell you, I don't even want to call it a tractor because that's negative to the tractor.
Right.
This is a data harvester. These cars, this is simply a data harvester that just sort of runs around at the end, collecting everybody else's data. Like a little
That's correct.
fishnet.
I hate it. But you're so right.
So wait, you were correct. Kudos.
We need to give him kudos when we can this season.
The world's saddest kudos to you. And I will say, because of my character bias against Sergio Perez, I have failed to see that he actually is doing much better than Valtteri Bottas in the Cadillac.
Ass, actually, yeah.
I'm like, I have to admit it. Like, all right, you, good job, you.
I don't know if everyone knows this, but that is hugely mature from Elaine.
My mouth tastes so gross. I'm gonna take a sip of water.
What's the sweet, tasty thing that you want to end on, winner? How do you want to end this?
Can we just terminal put it out of its misery? Do you have any prediction?
I think that Lando Norris is going to weirdly win the Spanish Grand Prix. That is probably a hot take because Kimi Antonelli is like unstoppable. But I think that Lando Norris is going to make it. You think Kimi?
I think Kimmy will probably win that, but I am excited for more buffoonery from George. I am kind of enjoying this, like, he's sort of losing wheels. Wheels are popping off.
He
his
literally
brain.
said bamboozled, which is such a fun George. I do love his random vocabulary.
He's such an English toddler.
Sweet, sweet tall man. Another sweet, sweet tall man that we're going to... Nope, it's a short man. Where's Liam Lawson going to finish in the Barcelona Grand Prix?
Ooh, this was our spin the wheel?
Yes.
Okay, Liam Lawson. Hello, Liam.
Giant kudos to him this weekend, too. Both
I know,
carbs.
he ended up in 5th. I'm still not ready to give anybody kudos because the
Perfect
only
professional.
reason they won is because it was you know, you're not doing bad. P10.
P10! I think I almost said P10 too, so I'm like, choose another one. Choose
You
a
can
different...
say P10.
No, I think I'm going to say that Arvid is going to beat him, and therefore he is going to be in Nico Hulkenberg's favorite spot, P11.
Oh.
So that's a double prediction for you there. Arvid P10, Liam P11.
I love his eyebrows so much.
He does have supremely good eyebrows.
God, they're gorgeous.
I hope that we get a supremely good race in Spain, and they completely change our opinion about the basic B word of Formula One, that is Spain. Anything else you want to share about this heartbreak of Monaco?
No.
Great. Let's have snacks.
Yes, that I would love. All right, more snacks, more tapas. Next week, I can't believe we have another race this weekend. I am so excited. I don't have anything. I don't have a show. You don't have a show.
Nope. Oh my God, we might just actually get to watch the cars go.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. All right, well, love from us to you out there. Thank you for listening. Please rate, review, subscribe if you haven't already, and let us know how you're doing.
Yeah, we could probably all have a little emotional support meeting this week.
This is the time.
Yeah.
Reach out to your buddy if you haven't. All right. So with that, it's legs out
And away we go.
We'll see you next time.